Welcome to the Transformation Institute's podcast. This podcast will break down what real change is and how we think is instrumental to that change. In a society that often looks sideways at individuals telling us how to think, we will reveal and expose a barrage of thought manipulations and mind programming being imposed upon us unaware daily. Each week, we'll explore the awareness, strategies, tools, and mindsets needed to recognize, survive, and thrive amidst change. We'll feature insightful interviews and conversations with knowledgeable individuals and share inspiring stories of average people who have navigated their journeys of transformation and sharing their hard-won wisdom and practical advice. Whether you're seeking a shift in career, relationships, or personal well-being, this podcast is your guide to unlocking your full potential and embracing the exciting possibilities that lie ahead. Join us as we embark on this transformative journey together. Here's our host, OMARI JAHI.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Transformation Institute podcast for change. I'm your host, DJ. Well, I am a DJ, y'all can see based on my sign back there. But I'm OMARI JAHI, the host of this great transformative podcast. And today we have a special guest that's going to be coming in around 8:30. Because what we're going to be discussing today is based on we got some people on that's checked in. Let's see who we got. Miss Yolanda. Hey, good evening, Miss Yolanda. Welcome. But we're going to be talking about unresolved emotional pain. People are in pain. People are going through some things in their life, and we're not really. We're just left alone to deal with it. You know, if you go to the doctor gonna give you some pills or some medication to try to make you some Xanax or whatever that stuff that they give people to try to deal with it. But solving the problem has never been something that people do. This is what we want to deal with today. We want to talk about solving what can be done to solve this challenge. And we have an expert that's going to come in around 8:30 that's going to give us some insight. But before he does come in, I want to introduce you to our co-host. First, we have my cousin. Put your hands together for Miss Brenda Robinson. Hey, put your hands together for her. Hey,
Brenda. Hi, hey.
And next, coming up, put your hands together for Miss Vanessa Rogers. Yes, put your hands together for her. Yeah.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, my main man. Put your hands together for Mr. William Birch. Yeah.
Hi, William.
What's up, Will?
Hey, everybody.
In the building. Hey, man, I'm glad everybody was able to make it this evening. You know, I hope everybody's week has been peaceful and blessed. I've been stressed out. I ain't gonna lie. You know, I need some help for real. And I'm glad, you know, it's really ironic. And it's not really ironic because I know how God works, that most of our subject seems to have an effect on us, you know, at some shape, form, or fashion. Like this talking about emotional pain. You know, I've experienced emotional pain. I'm sure all of us have. You know, when I was in college, my girlfriend dumped me for a dude that was living downstairs, man, and I was so hurt. I was heartbroken. And it took me a while to get over that, you know, and all of us have been through some things like that. But first thing I want to do is I want to play this video that I have that deals with, I want to play this video real quick that kind of tells you about this process. Because remember, I'm talking about solutions now, you know, and I'm not saying that this is the only solution. I'm saying it is something that we can use in order to help the challenges that we're facing personally, in our communities, in our families. You know, we can use this tool in order to help ourselves be better. Now, take some notes so y'all, because I know y'all gonna have questions after this. And if anybody that's online has any questions, make sure you put it in the comments. We'll definitely put them on for you. So and answer them. Like we did Miss Yolanda. Miss Yolanda said good morning or good evening and everything, and we're saying good evening to Miss Yolanda. So here's this video. All right, here we go. I'm gonna make it full screen.
The number of ways you can receive an engram are almost infinite. But all engrams fall into just 3 basic types. Let's take a look at each one of them and see the different ways in which they aberrate you. The first type of engram is called a contra-survival engram. See the different ways in which...
I'm gonna pause it real quick because I know many of y'all are probably asking the question, what the heck is an engram? I
just wrote that down on my paper. Engram with a question mark. Like, all righty then. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, what they're saying medically is that we have 2 types of minds, an active mind, and our active mind is the thing that we use to calculate, we think, and all those things. The reactive mind is the other part of your mind that goes into effect whenever we feel pain or are in a situation where it's a life and death type of situation, almost like, how your circuit breakers work in your house. If it gets overloaded, the circuit breaker will cut it off before it overloads and catch on fire and burns up your house or something like that. So the circuit breaker cuts the circuit off. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the reactive mind does. It cuts once, like say you get hit by a car. The active mind, the mind that you use to calculate and think, it shuts down simply because the stress of the accident is so much that it doesn't want you to go into shock or anything like that. So then the active mind takes over and it records everything that goes on during your unconsciousness or the time that you are out. Now, when that happens, everything that's recorded is called an engram. That's what engrams are. Those things that are recorded in our minds during times of pain, suffering, and unconsciousness. Y'all, did I make that kind of clear? Y'all got what I'm saying, right? Okay.
Yeah, we got it. We got that.
Okay, cool.
They aberrate you. The first type of engram is called a contra-survival engram. Contra means against or opposing. So a contra-survival engram is an incident containing physical pain and data that threatens or seems to threaten your survival.
Man, you're a loser!
The contents of these engrams cause aberrations that act as blocks to your dynamics and your basic purposes.
That was pathetic! You're not good enough and you never will be!
Imagine going through life feeling that regardless of what you do and how hard you try, you'll never be good enough.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm gonna tell him no. I'm not gonna take the promotion.
What are you talking about? This is what you've been working for.
No!
Why?
I'm not good enough, Carol, okay? I'm not good enough and I never will be.
The contra-survival engram acts like a suppressor to you. But you're being suppressed by something from within yourself, and you have no idea it's there.
See, that's what the engram is. It's something that suppresses your thrive for life and your thrive for survival. It suppresses it, but we don't even know that it's there, and it's being done. Like this guy, when he was a kid, he got knocked out at football practice, and the coach was telling him he ain't never gonna be anything, and that carried over throughout his life to where he was a grown man now saying the same thing. I ain't never gonna be good. I can't take that promotion. I ain't good enough for that promotion. You see, so this is what we're dealing with in our communities, and this is this auditing session is a way that I've seen, the only thing that I've seen that actually does some help, and it has nothing to do with taking medicine or being medicated or being hypnotized or anything like that. All right.
The second type of engram is called the pro-survival engram. Pro means in favor or supporting of. Now, no engram actually aids your survival in any way. But the data in a pro-survival engram seems to help you survive.
You can't relax. You gotta push yourself. You gotta push, 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 and never let up for a second.
Because the commands in such an engram seem to be aligned with your basic purpose to survive, a pro-survival engram acts as though it's part of your dynamic thrust. But it's an aberrated part that actually harms your survival. These engrams waste your life force by forcing you to obey irrational commands that your reactive mind thinks are necessary for your survival.
I got it.
A pro-survival engram causes behavior that's very aberrated,
Dave, relax, man. For God's sakes, it's supposed to be a friendly game.
and you have no control over it. Now, there is a specific kind of pro-survival engram called a sympathy engram that's the most aberrative engram you could have. A sympathy engram contains someone you think has rescued you or defended you when you were in danger.
She can't breathe.
That person offers you sympathy and protection when you're sick, injured, or in any way experiencing physical pain.
My poor baby. It's okay. Daddy's here. You're safe now.
And because they helped you survive, your reactive mind now thinks you need that person to continue surviving. In Dianetics, we call such a person an ally. The nanny who sympathetically fussed over you when you were hurt. The aunt who begged your pregnant mother not to abort you.
Jackie, do not get rid of it. If you can't take care of it, I certainly will.
Or the parent who saved you from a beating.
I tell you to do something, you had
What
better...
do you think you're doing?
To your reactive mind, these are your allies.
Sorry, baby. Mama will never let him hurt you ever again, okay?
And you can't survive without them. Let's take a look at a sympathy pro-survival engram in detail, so you can see how devastating these engrams can be.
You're still sick?
Take a common childhood engram in which you're extremely ill.
Cover your mouth when you cough.
Now, your mother is typically not very kind to you.
No, just play with your truck.
Oh, Mother, finally you're here.
My poor little boy.
So your grandmother comes to your rescue to take care of you.
It's okay. Grandma's here.
While you're feverish, she gives you a lot of sympathy and promises she'll stay with you as long as you're sick.
I'll stay right here with you as long as you're sick.
Your reactive mind now considers Grandma an ally. Her purpose to keep you alive aligns with your basic purpose to survive. So Grandma is now identified with survival. So now you need Grandma to survive.
How would you like a yummy peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Does that sound good?
And since Grandma equals survival, everything she says and does, especially in this engram, is right and also equals survival.
Don't worry, darling, because Grandma loves you.
What's worse, anyone in the future who somehow reminds you of Grandma will also equal survival.
Well, of course if she has that.
The reactive mind is pretty stupid that way. So when you grow up, you marry a woman who has the same accent or mannerisms as your grandmother, without knowing why.
Darling, please? I am on the phone.
Your reactive mind can't tell the difference between your wife and your grandmother.
Don't worry, darling.
So it thinks your wife is your ally. And allies are sympathetic and take care of you. That's how you survive. But your wife is not your grandmother. And she's not a sympathetic person.
What?
Nothing. I just want to be with my sweet wife.
Well, we're talking, so why don't you go talk to the guys? Anyway.
Now, you need her sympathy to survive. What did you do to get Grandma's sympathy? You were sick. And what did Grandma say in that engram?
I'll stay right here with you as long as you're sick.
So this is your reactive mind's computation. Grandma was nice to me and took care of me when I was sick. I need my wife to be nice to me. Therefore, I must be sick. This is called an ally computation. An ally computation says that you can only be safe around certain people, and you can only be around those people if you're sick or crazy or poor or generally disabled. So your reactive mind turns on the same somatics that were recorded in that engram, and you become psychosomatically sick.
Honey, can you feel my forehead? I think I'm coming down with something.
It's hot outside. You're probably just hot. No, look, go get something to drink. Did I miss anything?
But your wife doesn't respond like a sympathetic ally. So the computation gets stronger, and your psychosomatic illness gets stronger, all in an effort to make her be your ally. This is the basic pattern of all sympathy engrams.
Bye, honey. Bye-bye.
Okay, it's more to it, guys, but I'm gonna shut it down there because I'm sure I know I would have a bunch of questions based on all the stuff that we just heard and everything. But let me say this, that all of these different types of ways that the mind operates. And see, you got to understand this too. We're not talking about the brain. The brain is one thing. We're talking about the mind, which is much larger than the brain. And these engrams can cause, remember we were talking about being triggered? How words can trigger us and they have you to act a certain way. And they trigger, and this is what engrams are. It's something that has happened to you. You've been hurt in a certain way, and then at a later date, something occurred that triggers all of those emotions back again. Now, this auditing process that I'm talking about helps you to eradicate those engrams, whereas what happened to you won't have a triggering effect anymore. It'll just be a memory. If I think about my mother that passed, I won't just break down and get depressed and start crying again. It's a memory that I may say, man, I really missed mother's laugh. It'll be something happy about, a memory about your mom's, and it won't be just about well, she left me alone and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye and and things of that nature. So what do you guys I see you got something, Will. Come on with it.
Oh no. I kind of look at it like it's like an affirmation for bodies, for the body, when you talk about all the different effects that the engrams have on the brain or the body, kind of like different affirmations, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it has. See, and I understand it's kind of scientific, and this is why it's hard, because I hate science. I'm gonna be honest with you. I failed science in school on all levels, and so it has to be explained in a way that we can understand it and that we can see it in our mind. And so that's why I'm bringing this guy on. So he can probably explain it a lot better than I can. But I believe that this is something that we can use and we can promote in order to help to begin changing some things like we are talking about, changing the way we're thinking, changing. It ain't just going to happen by osmosis. Something has to be done in order for us to start thinking better, feeling better, acting better. Something has to be done. What do you ladies think?
Well, I was thinking that the video was real long, and
I'm sure.
I was thinking that for us to help some people that we should have been talking about the stuff. And I understand the engrams. I'm glad that we got us a new word to call some stuff. I don't know if we'll call it that for real, but we know what engrams are. But I think that people would like to hear what type of emotional things from us here, talking emotional baggage that we've taken with us. Yeah, some of us we don't think about it until somebody brings it up. You know, somebody mentions something. You know, we think we're good. We walking around, we good. So what? I'm mad at so and so. So what? I'm not talking to so and so. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm all right. I'm cool. But and then we start talking about it, and we find out we got some stuff that we probably do need to talk to someone else about. Maybe we're not really good. So that's what I think.
Okay.
Well, as for me, I would definitely like to be able to view that whole video on my own time so I could get more in depth of what the engrams are. They sound like they go hand in hand with the traditional route that we usually go. So I'm just interested to see if there's like some significant difference between like the auditing process as well as versus the counseling process that we, tend to be more familiar with.
Now, I've never had counseling. Have any of you guys ever went through counseling?
No, I talk about it all the time.
Oh, well, yeah, I go
talk about that. I should go.
Yes, I get.
Oh, okay.
So do you feel that it's helped you? You feel that that's a
oh, most definitely.
That's something to do?
You've known me 20 years. Do you think it's helped me?
See, that's why I asked you.
Okay, well, I'm not.
That's why I asked you. Do you think it helped you? Don't let's not get personal. Let's go ahead.
Right. No, I do. I'm a big person when it comes to counseling. I support counseling, and I'm always pushing for people to go to counseling.
Okay. All right. What about you, Bert?
The worst part for me is I always seem to pick it up when I'm in the midst of needing counseling more so than just continued maintenance.
Now, I mean, are we, I'm speaking general now. Are we so, as a people, are we so hurt and disappointed and disgusted to the point to where we need auditing or counseling, but it's not a popular thing? So almost like how you guys say men are dealing with doctors, we suck it up and we just keep it moving, and we don't even do any research. We don't look into counseling. We don't look into because nobody wants to accept that they have some kind of emotional disorder. You know, there's some bipolar people that don't even know they're bipolar, you know. But the thing is, we've been made to believe that just because we have been affected by some emotional, what's the word I want to use? Well, an emotional, we've gone through an emotional tragedy or something to that effect, that we are crazy. And nobody wants to consider themselves crazy. So they just say, oh, well, I'm good, basically.
And well, actually, these days people are talking more about counseling. It's a big thing now. People are going that never went before, because I think mostly because it's trendy. Yeah, it's like when you go to the doctor now, they have a little survey, and they ask you the kind of thoughts you have and stuff. You know, it's even before you get in to see the doctor, they give you a little survey to see how you are, and then they ask you at the doctor, would you like to talk to someone? If you put on that survey form something, you check something that may need a little more, you know, getting into, they'll ask you if you would like to talk to some of their counselors. I mean, that happened after the pandemic. a lot, but I think counseling and therapy now is trendy. I think some people go because of the trend. Like there's always going to be somebody going just because it's trendy, but I think it's a bigger thing now. I don't, even though I still agree that people don't want to be considered crazy, but like I said earlier, I talk about going to counseling. I say that I need to talk to someone, and I guess subconsciously I must feel that I don't really need it or something, because I've only talked about it. I never have gone to get it, but I do
And
believe that it's something to help people.
But guess how many people feel the same way you do? You see what I'm saying?
I don't know. Like I told you, I know so many people going to therapy nowadays, though, more than I ever known in my whole life. So many people are going. So
you kind of touched on something when you said the pandemic. So
yeah.
All of the questions that the doctors ask you now, they asked you then. You just notice it more now, and they're really centered on trying to get you to answer those questions, because a lot of people had like real meltdowns, because it's something about being told what you can't do, or being confined to a home, or being confined wherever. It does something real. And it's almost like, see, they never dealt with it as a society as a whole. They see stuff like we went through during the pandemic. They see that in prison life, like where people are confined. They see that in those societies. But when they saw this as a whole, now it's like, oh my God, these people are breaking down. They're really in need of therapy. So I don't think it's trendy. It's like, oh my goodness, more people are really affected more than ever before. So let's see if we can talk to some of these people and get them in to see someone. Talk therapy does wonders. And it's like when we all talk to each other, when the cameras aren't rolling, there's a magic, because we are actually helping one another. Even if you don't know it, you're being helped just by releasing everything you're going through or talking about. So all of that, I don't think it's a trend. But you kind of touched on something too, Omari, when you said 1 minute, the menopausal brain. When you were talking about how we oh, this is bad. I'll come back. No, I'll come back, because my moment could last forever. Probably need to be in therapy for that. But no, honestly, it's not one of those things where it is based on us being looked at as, oh, you're crazy, or you don't need counseling because this or that. We all need to talk to someone at some time. Now, if you gonna put it all, depending on who you are, some people say, I don't need to talk to anyone. I go to God with everything. Well, God gave us counselors and therapists. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, but go ahead, Will.
No, I'm one of those people that God is my counselor.
And that's fine. I have no problem with that.
I don't think another human can tell me nothing. They got problems themselves. That's just my opinion. God got the answers, in my opinion. So,
but
we have a comment. We have a comment, guys. You see the comment?
Yeah, we got a couple of people commenting.
Okay, so we not like gonna address them, say anything to them?
Oh, from Barcelona, Spain. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Fawn.
Yeah, it says if engrams stem from past experiences and are stored only in our subconscious mind, how do we eradicate them if we don't even know that they exist? Sending love from Barcelona. Hey, that's a great question.
And that's a great question, because most of our issues stem from childhood traumas or young adult traumas, and we process all of that and take it into the future. So maybe this is a good time to get the professional for engrams on the call.
Oh yeah, he got a few more. He probably be coming on the next couple of minutes. I told him to come on around 8:30. But in answer to Fawn's question, you know, when you have something, it's almost like this. Have you ever seen these shows where they hypnotize people? They had a little watch or whatever, and they hypnotize them. And then they may give them a command or something while they're under hypnosis. You know, he'll say something. The guy might say something like, "When I touch my tie, you'll take off your coat. When I release my tie, you'll put your coat back on." Right? And so he brings the person out of that. Oh, he just made it on. So I'm gonna bring him on in a minute after I finish this thought.
Okay.
The guy has no knowledge as to why, whenever this guy touches his tie, why he's taking his coat off. He'll make an excuse to justify it in his own mind. He'll say, "Oh, it's hot in here," and he'll take his coat off. But then when the guy releases his tie, he'll put his coat back on. See, this is what engrams do.
And that may be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And this is why the auditing process has to be in place in order for us to understand that there is a way to clear ourselves from this type of situation. And let me bring our guest on real quick. All right, hey, introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Neno, and I was invited here today to give a little, information on the subject of Dianetics. This book right here by Mr. L. Ron Hubbard. And my understanding is that, from what I could gather here, piggyback on what he was saying, talking about a little bit about the reactive mind, engrams, and how that has an effect upon the individual, and ultimately, from what I heard, like there's a route, right, as far as to, in a sense, to not be a quote unquote puppet to this reactive mind where I'm just reacting up, like almost like in a stimulus response, so I can actually be in control and not be having so many like irrational behaviors and etc. So a little bit about myself. Obviously I work at the Church of Scientology here in Chicago, and I help introduce people to Dianetics in Scientology, and I help a person, with that regards. So any additional questions for me, Reverend?
Yeah, well, what we were discussing was how I guess one of our guests had raised the question, and we were kind of commenting on that. He was saying how if engrams, are stem from our past experiences and are stored in our subconscious mind, how can we eradicate them if we don't even know that they exist or if they're there? Can you kind of touch on that?
Of course. So a couple of things, right? I'm going to define some terms, and one of them is the reactive mind, right? The ideal scenario, obviously, you may go to Dianetics.org. There is a video that gives you the visualization of how that occurs. But the definition of the reactive mind, right, is, let me pull it up here, is a portion of a person's mind which works on a totally stimulus response basis, which is not under his volitional control, and which exerts force and power and the power of command over his awareness, purposes, thoughts, body, and actions. Storing this reactive mind is the engrams, right? Which here is that is the single source of aberration and psychosomatic ills. So here we have.
Can you break that down in simple language, man?
Of course.
please, all those words, man. You got me at Dianetics. I still sitting here with Dianetics and a question mark. Can you break that down so I can understand it? Because my mind, this engram is, not working right now.
Totally. So I'm going to pull it up here. There is the definition of the word in itself. It's dia, which is through. I'm going to pull it up here, Dianetics, because there's a definition. So when you take a look at it, right, Dianetics. Okay, here it is. And then it, 1 second. So we had, this is a science of the mind. I'm looking for the definition here to give it to you. It's basically what the mind is doing to the body, right? So that is the definition of it. So Dianetics, that's what it is. Dianetics.
What the
Now,
mind is doing to the body. Okay.
what the mind or soul, what the mind or soul is doing to the body, right?
Okay.
On this mind, we have the analytical mind, which is what we use to be rational, right? Okay, I'm going to pay my bills. I'm going to cook breakfast. I should not cross the street, right? Whenever the car's coming, like the things that allows us to be rational in human beings. The reactive mind, right, is this mind that almost like works on a stimulus response, what I just read it to you. When there's a moment of pain and unconsciousness and pain, things get stored in this reactive mind, right?
Now, what kind of things are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm going to break that down for you, right? So let's say, for example, we're born, right? From that single point, right? From us being born, there's a somewhat of a painful moment for the being, right? So like he's going through a lot, right? Exiting the body of the mom. So this mind, it is recording, like almost if you think about it like a computer, right? It's just recording on a very literal sense. So another example, I could be going up of a ladder. I fall. I hit my head. I go a little unconscious. My mind, it is going to be recording everything that's going on, sounds, temperature, noises, anything, right? Could be a car honking, could be dog barking, could be my mom saying, "Oh my God, what happened?" When you shouldn't gun up. And what the Reverend was saying earlier, right? So this moment now, I have a moment of pain that where I was unconscious as well. So when we have the analytical mind and the reactive mind, right? When my awareness has diminished, either because I could be tired or upset or a number of reasons, right? And then I have the outside environment approximate all of these different things that happen in this moment of pain where I was unaware and unconscious. It is going to cause me to react as if I was in that moment when the engram occurred. I fell from the ladder. I hear the car honking, right? I'm a little bit tired. And my mom could have said, "You should go lay down." Now, all of a sudden, we're not talking about a coach. We're talking about, you know what? I feel a little tired. Maybe I should go lay down. Because it is the command in itself that occurs.
Right. It's like Nino, I was saying earlier, like we get triggered. I think in Dianetics, they call it keying.
That's right.
You get triggered by hearing a car horn, and if you're tired, then when I fell off the ladder, I hit my head. So now when I hear this car horn honking, and I'm a little tired, now my head starts hurting in the same place that it hurt when I fell off the ladder. And so I was triggered by those things, me being tired and the horn honking. And so now I'm reenacting that whole incident again. I feel tired. I need to go lay down. But that's what my mom said, right? You see what I'm saying? So we reenacting that whole scene. So that we can kind of understand what it's about.
That is correct. Now, that is just one example, right? That a person may or may not be aware of it. So the word that it is in this book, it is called dramatization. I am dramatizing what occurred, literally as if I'm in a play, right? When we take a look at the word, I could be upset. Let's say I'm a child and I get hit by my father, and then I go a little unconscious. Oh, you're stupid or whatever, right? He says, and then he knocks me out. And whenever there's an environment, my environment around me, or there's enough re-simulators or enough trigger points around, I could be dramatizing that to what my dad did to me towards other people, toward my own children. Overtly, right? There's different ways this dramatization can occur. Or it could be a dramatization where I'm going to introvert because the environment tells me is dangerous, even though it is not really dangerous. But I'm operating under this response, this engramic moment that occur from a moment of pain and unconsciousness that it is below my awareness level. If I was aware, I would have control of it, right? Which would not be a problem. So what this, on Dianetics, right, is there is a technique that allows a person to basically erase these moments of pain so you can return back to yourself, your consciousness and awareness to the point that you're able to do because, right, over your life. So you don't have to be dramatizing or in a sense like having these aberrations, right? Like a irrational behavior, right? Because it doesn't make sense for me to start smacking my kids for no reason, right? Or talking in a sense that it's uncalled for in an environment wherein somebody could have just be asking me a question.
Right, like Nino. Did I say that right? Is it Nemo?
Nano.
Yes,
sir. It's okay.
Yes. So now there's a lot of things going on in the community. There's domestic violence. There's robberies, murders. There's all kind of things going on. Sex trafficking. I mean, there's so much stuff going on. Sure. Can any of these things be attributed to engrams?
So I'm going to give you a general answer, right? Mm-hmm. Which is yes, right? When you take a look at a person's behavior and you see something to not be rational, it doesn't make sense. There must be a reason behind, right? Now, if it's funny enough, right? There is this quote that comes to my mind that a reporter asked Mother Teresa, "What can we do to promote world peace?" And she said, "Go home and love your family." And funny enough, right? Like when we take a look at, how are these individuals doing from an emotional standpoint in their own lives, right? Now, if we go, again, each case is going to be each only individual case, but when you take a look at it, there's something must have occurred, a contribution of factors, right, for that to be in, right? And if a person would know how to operate or have different options as what to do, it doesn't, like, the being at the end of the day, he still is himself, right? But if we give tools to people for them to know better and do better, they have a chance of doing so. Right?
Understand.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So with the engrams, it's basically a matter of just knowing behaviors and like what triggers behaviors, how those behaviors affect you mentally, physically, emotionally.
Is that a question for me?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So, I want to make sure that I understand. So you want to say that these engrams is like, it's how it affects a person emotionally and like from a behavior standpoint. Is that your question?
I'm saying engrams, just in general, they're pretty much us being able to say we understand behavior, what triggers behaviors, like past behaviors, how they trigger us in the present and future. Is that more what engrams are based around?
No, so in an engram, you have a moment of pain in unconsciousness that occurs in a person's mind. That's what that is.
How do we know that? Where did that come from? How do we know that?
And my question was,
how do you know that?
My question about that was because you're saying the unconscious mind. Well, sometimes the behaviors that we exhibit come from things that we kind of locked away. So sometimes in our locked memories, we behave certain ways because those locked memories, even though we aren't really knowing that, okay, this is occurring because of this that happened. Like, let's say I got dropped on my head in 1972. I might be thinking there's something to anytime I'm around stairs where I like freeze up. And it may be because my mind and body remembers being dropped down those stairs. But I consciously don't know that's why I do it until maybe someone points it out. So I'm asking, is that the same way that what you're describing as the engram, is that kind of the same thing? Is the way I'm interpreting the behaviors?
Well, the engram in itself, right? It's this stored painful moment in the person's mind.
So is it only storing bad moments?
On the reactive mind, yes. On the analytical mind, right? We have obviously our memories, which now it's under our control. With this is like kind of like what you said, right? Like it's quote unquote locked away where we're not looking at it, where we're unaware of this is playing a factor to today. What we want to do through the Dianetics auditing, we want to get these painful moments, have them release and go from here to here that I can look at it and have this be under my control. Now, I may still be a jerk, right? Like, I have the free will to do so, but it's, at least I'm not doing out of a dramatization because of this occur, right? This painful moment.
So then it seems like you didn't get any help then. If you could still be a jerk even afterwards, what's the point?
My next question was, so when you pretty much say, okay, this is the engram involved, and it is this situation that occurred that made you react this way, what is your next step to like helping someone deal with that?
Yeah, well,
to change the outcome.
For sure. First thing I would recommend would be for the person to get the book, right? Because and go, or we have videos, we have different things. But having knowledge on how your mind works will give you an upper hand on what to do. On the book itself, it describes the procedure of what to do to erase those painful moments for the individual.
Okay, so that goes back to me knowing behaviors and understanding them then.
Yes, on the sense, right? I don't know if you can really see it. This book here is divided into 3 books, like book 1, book 2, and book, a couple, and we have the theory and we have the doing it. There's a couple of things that the book breaks it down, right? It's almost like we had a manual for the mind. Okay, good. And how can we actually put into practice the activity of removing this irrational behavior, right? Kind of a thing.
So outside of reading R.L. Ron Hubbard's book, is there another way that you, let's say someone comes to see you and you're dealing with them on engrams, are you picking up the book saying, let's read this book? Or are you actually diving in, helping them outside of saying, read the book?
Yeah. So one of the things that can be done, right, it's because to help a person understand what's going on with his mind, will automatically put him on to be more cause over what's happening, right? Let's say if he's going to come in for auditing, for example, there are a couple of videos that I would show to this individual to help him understand first what's happening with his mind, two, some of his behavior, and three, what is going to occur on the auditing procedure, right? Because it's not just me, which or the person, the auditor, doing something for the individual. The individual has to be there pitching as well, right? So it's not. It's almost like if
Okay,
you
I'm
think,
sorry. What do you mean by that? Pitching?
meaning if I'm going to use an analogy, right? If let's say this is a book about working out, going to the gym. Okay, here's the theory of what needs to be done. Good, and then good. We is the doing this, and then I still have to lift the weights, right? I could have a trainer helping me. Good, this is what you're going to be doing. I'm going to be helping you, but at the end of the day, right, I still have to do something to be able to remove those irrational behaviors, and that will be done along with the audit. It's not so much where I'm doing something and a person doesn't have any say in the matter. They got to be there along with it. Now, the more they understand, the better, the faster things can occur. So to answer your question, somebody came in there to help, there would be some level of introduction for them to what Dynamics is. And then if they want, then some auditing would be done.
If I can,
so can you tell me?
Hold on, real quick, Vanessa, real quick. Let me explain to you what the auditing process is, and I think real quick, and then I think you will kind of get a better picture of what he's saying. Now, the auditing process is based on the individual being asked to go into their mind and find a moment in time where they experience pain and emotional pain or physical pain. When that person finds, let's say I go back in my mind and say, I remember when I fell off my bike when I was 7 years old. Now, your responsibility as the person that's being audited is that you have the role that you are playing is being one to recount what happened to you over and over again. And the more you do it, the more clearer things get and you remember things. And that process is what causes your engrams to be erased. The more you do that, that causes your engrams to be erased. Now that's the role you have to play. The role that the auditor plays is that they help you to stay on track and stay on point. Make sure, like when you get to a point where it seems like you don't see it or don't remember anything else, they'll say something to the effect of, okay, we'll start at the beginning and count everything that you can remember. Just keep doing that over and over again. And that process is what erases and diminishes the engram, if that can give you a little more clarity.
Okay, so it's almost parallel to traditional therapy then. The auditor is pretty much like the behavior therapist.
Not really, because to be honest with you, a therapist talks more about let's say you say something to the effect of, when I was young, my mother used to beat me a lot and I really didn't care about that. And then the therapist might say, well, how did that make you feel? And then you go and you talk about how it made you feel. And then the therapist might say, well, what about your father? Auditing is not like that. They don't.
I think it depends on the therapist. All therapists don't follow the same traditional outline.
Okay. I don't know. I've never had therapy.
I'm just trying to see, because it almost sounds like it's almost the same. And I'm trying to see if there is a difference, and if so, what the big difference is. That's what I keep asking. Like, how does auditing differ from therapy, and how is it similar to therapy? Like, because a lot of things that are being said sounds like they go hand in hand.
They may be similar. I've never had therapy. It would have to be a person to had therapy to get audited, to be able to sit here and say, well, there's some similarities in it, or there's nothing similar at all. That person would have to make that conclusion, because I've never been in therapy. I don't think any of you guys have ever been to therapy. But
Vanessa
well, I have.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
It sounds almost similar.
But she's never been audited, so she can't really say whether they're the same or not. You see what I'm saying?
That's why I'm asking, because what you're saying about auditing almost sounds similar to just regular behavioral therapy. That's why I'm asking.
Ms. Fawn asks, does Scientologists believe in therapy or God?
So when you take a look at that in itself, right, when we're trying to improve, that in a sense is therapeutic, right? If we're like looking for ways to improve ourselves, either through proper knowledge, changing perhaps the environment, doing things that's going to uplift us as the individual, or auditing. Now the word auditor, going back to what the Reverend was saying, means one who listens, right? Like, I'm not necessarily going to be talking, besides having this uniform technique to address the mind, right? Knowing that I'm going to get a result every time that I do apply this technology, right, for the mind. So the short answer, obviously, yes, right, therapy. But the real question is, do all therapies work? Right? That's more the proper question to be asking. So
you do believe in therapy?
So therapy, it's yes, right?
Beg your pardon?
That it will be yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, we
okay.
Thank you for being
I
on.
don't know if we got.
We're out of time, guys.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Someone else had a question that was on the monitor. It was nice. I was trying to go back to it. I can't find it.
Oh, I don't know.
It was someone before Fawn.
Oh, I think I know
you're talking about. The question.
You talking about this person here? No, that wasn't a question.
No, it was right before Camille's response. Yes, Miss Bonbon 310. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it. So it sounds like
no. Can you see what Miss Bonbon said? And if so, could you respond to it?
Did he hear us?
Can you see it or no?
Is
that a question for me?
Yes.
Oh, I was asking, could you respond to her?
Which person?
Miss Bonbon 310. Sounds like shadows, parts of ourselves that we repress, deny, or ignore, and that are often considered undesirable or unacceptable. She was saying that's what the whole thing with the engram sound like.
Well, that's a analogy, right, that can be described. So if you think about a person who has, quote unquote, multiple personalities, right, would, in a sense, if you take a look at you, the individual, and I'm not being myself, it could be shadows of that. That could be an analogy that could be describing this. And the more that I'm trying to deny or obviously ignore something about it, can be a problem, right? And we also have a saying here that which we can confront, we can handle it. And, if I'm unable to look at something, if I'm not confronting something about me, it makes it difficult for me to handle it.
All right, guys. We thank you for being on, man. We're gonna probably have a part 2 to this, and maybe we invite you guys to come back on so that we can get a clearer picture of what we're dealing with here. But we thank you for being on, and we really appreciate your input. Okay.
Very good.
All right. All right. Take care. All right, guys. We need to try to get a closing thought on this now. What are we thinking? Now I'll tell you what I'm telling you what I think. It's hard to have a conversation. It's hard to talk about anything that you don't understand. You know, and this is very much so something that I didn't even understand. Like he said, I had to read the book. When I read the book, I got more clarity about it. And when I watched the videos, I even got more clarity about it. You know, because again, there's so much information in there. Whereas in the words that they use, if you don't know what those words mean, then you just sitting here and everything is flying over your head. You know, you don't know what the heck is going on. But I tried to make it as clear as I could based on my understanding of it. You know, it's like being hypnotized. You are being forced to act a certain way, and you don't even know you're being forced to do that. This is what we're trying to get rid of. And this is what I'm saying, that most people are experiencing this. Most people that are, I mean, all of us, I just like this. Every last one of us on this planet is separated and have engrams to some point or degree. Now, whether we know what they are, we know, like, I didn't know I had a challenge with my mother. I didn't know that until I got audited. I went to a seminar and got audited and discovered that through the auditing that's important. But before that, I had no clue. I thought I was fine. I'm straight. And so, again, this is why we have to really look into this thing. We have to research it. We can't just cast it off because we don't understand it. And I'm not saying that you guys are. I'm not saying that. I'm speaking of us as a people, period. We cast things off that we don't understand. Put it to the side, we brush it under the rug, or whatever. And so I think this is something that needs to be looked into. I'm not saying that maybe we might have enough to know about it until it can be explained better. I thought this guy, well, to be honest with you, the guy that I asked to come on is the guy that taught me. And I know he knows what he's talking about. I don't know who this guy was. And he had him come on because he couldn't think. The guy, I know more than him. Yeah. And so he wasn't the best person to help us to understand this, what we're dealing with. So we're gonna close out, but when we go off screen, we're gonna have a small little conversation, you know, like we always do. We got a small little conversation, and hopefully we'll get a little clarity out of that, you know, because we don't really get warmed up until it's over. So, any closing words? Any closing thoughts? Brenda, what you thinking? You need more information.
No, don't need any more information. I'm gonna say this just me.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed overwhelming, and you just said that we may, you know, you said don't just sweep it under the rug because you don't understand it, but it almost it almost stressed me out. Wait. It almost stressed me out listening and talking about it. Do you really think I want to deal with it on a personal basis? I'll opt out, and I'll pray for understanding, pray that the Lord will give it to me. And hallelujah, that's my closing thought.
I was going to say hallelujah. So my closing thought, if you're going to read the book of Dianetics, good for you. If you're going to try counseling, meditation, journaling, whatever you need to do to make you a better person and get resolved with any type of things you're battling, do what makes you happy. Do what is going to make you whole, whatever form that is.
Okay, Will.
And like Forrest, that's all I got to say about that.
Understanding Scientology, Scientology is like understanding the Bible, so it can be interpreted, many ways, man. There's a lot of things to break down in there, so we'll never learn or understand what we're trying to understand in a segment like this here.
Okay. So, and again, that's the thing. See, a lot of it, and I look at it like this. See, Scientology, everybody got this, how can I say it? It's almost like the occult. When you say the word occult, everybody like, oh, that's the voodoo stuff. No, I want nothing to do with that. And I'm kind of like that too. I'm not into Scientology. I could care less about Scientology. I didn't go there to become a member of Scientology. I went there to get the information, because when I went to a seminar and I underwent the auditing process, what it did for me, I was like, man, that's amazing. And I wanted to know more about it. Now, when I went there and I paid for the course, now mind you, I paid money to take this course to learn to be an auditor, and I came away with my certificate. So I'm a certified auditor, right? Now, they tried to make me a member of their church. And I told
Are we
them,
still on
oh, yeah. We are. Let me close out. We'll talk about this off.
Okay.
Let me close out. Thank you guys for being here. I'm sorry that things weren't as clear as they should have been, could have been. But we're going to work on that, because we really need to get this emotional pain thing down. The things that cause us to act the ways that we do, and we don't even know why we act this way. And we got to get that under control. So I thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your comments that you guys put on the ticker down there. We thank you for all you've done. And until next Thursday, we look to see you back here again, 8 o'clock. We're going to be here with another topic to discuss. And until next week, we're constantly thinking for change. Till next week, y'all. Peace. We out here.
All right.
Thanks for supporting our podcast. We look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Until then, strive for a peaceful mind. Your activity will reflect that peace.